A lot of people have been saying Obsidian Flames doesn't change the meta, but I want to show you 3 deck lists from Japan that I think are really cool. Hey, Nick from TCG, and today we're going to be looking at 3 different deck lists that use cards from Obsidian Flames, and these are decks that either did really well or won gym battle tournaments, which in Japan, those are the equivalent of league challenges. So they're not the highest profile tournaments, but it's still something to look at. We're going to go ahead, get straight into the video. If you want to see the individual deck list, then I have the links to the original website where they were posted in the description. I also have timestamps for the different decks, so if you want to go back to look at one, all that's in the video description. And we're just going to get straight to it. This first deck list is very similar to decks that I've been seeing popping up on Twitter that utilize Arceus V-Star along with the Charizard EX. Why do we have both of them? Well, Arceus V-Star has a great ability, Starburst, which lets you search a deck for up to 2 cards, any 2 cards, and put them into your hand. So we can use this once per game power, once per game ability, and it's really good. We can go ahead and get ourselves a Pidgeot EX, which Pidgeot EX has the quick search ability, which once on our turn, we can search a deck for any card we want and put it directly into our hand. Really powerful. So we get half of a Starburst every single turn. So we use the actual Starburst to go ahead, find a Pidgeot, maybe we find a rare candy, maybe we find a Charizard, whatever it is we're missing to make the combo happen. Then when we get Pidgeot into play, we can use that to finish out the combo so that we can go ahead and now get our Charizard or get a second rare candy, Ultra Ball, whatever it is, like I said, that we would want. Arceus is also a pretty decent attacker, and we can power it up out of nowhere, really, with Charizard EX. Charizard EX has the ability Infernal Rain. When you play this Pokemon from your hand, to evolve one of your Pokemon, search your deck for 3 basic fire energies or up to 3 basic fire energies and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you want, which means we can go ahead and power up the Arceus, we can power up the Pidgeot, we can power up the Charizard if we want, we can go ahead and power up Delphox. It allows us to attach an energy to a Mew or a Manaphy to retreat. It is worth noting that the Pidgeot EX does have free retreat, so that's something that we should pay attention to as for pivots later in the game. So we can just go ahead, start using Arceus as support, right? We use the Arceus as a support Pokemon and also maybe a decent secondary attacker. Really though, late in the game, the Burning Darkness does 180 damage, 30 more damage for each prize card your opponent has taken. So after we've taken, our opponent's taken a couple of prizes, we're going to be, or even really just one prize, we start hitting for 210, which is more than what Trinity Nova would hit for. So if our opponent's taking any prizes, we're hitting more with the Charizard EX. So Charizard's still our main attacker, and Arceus is really just relegated to support, which is kind of interesting. However, again, that Starburst can't be undersold because we can use it in combination with Delphox V. Delphox V has the magical fire ability, 2 fires and a colorless, 120 damage, put 2 energy attached to this Pokemon into the Lost Zone, and it also does 120 to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. You might be saying to yourself, Nick, Manaphy exists, you have it in your own deck to protect our Pokemon from bench damage, but we have Cancel and Clone and Boss's Orders, so we can go ahead, use Boss's Orders to pull our opponent's Manaphy into the active spot, and then use Cancel and Clone that until the end of our turn, our opponent's active Pokemon has no ability. So if we use something like Starburst and or Quick Search to find one of those missing pieces, now we can go ahead, use Delphox's Magical Fire to hit 120 to the active, 120 to the bench, whether we're trying to just knock out a Pokemon that might have been retreated, something that we hit last turn, couldn't KO, they run to the bench, now we can finish it off. Maybe they have some bench sitter, some liability. We can go ahead and knock out like their one Curlia that they might have. We can go ahead and knock out whatever their Pidgey before it evolves into a Pidgeot, something, right? So that's what Delphox is useful for. We have 2 copies of Mew, the Mysterious Tail ability, which once they return, this Pokemon is in the active spot. Look at the top 6 cards of your deck, take an item card you find that and put it to your hand. This is so good. We have a bunch of items in this deck. We have 4 Ultra Balls, 3 Nest Balls, we got Battle VIP Passes, Switch, Escape Ropes, Rare Candies, Super Rod, and Cancel and Cologne. A lot of opportunities to go ahead and find an item off the top 6 cards. And again, because we have those switch options, because the Charizard can power up any of our Pokemon, we don't really have to worry about the Mew being trapped in the active, because if we evolve, we can put one energy onto the Mew to retreat, and then the other two energies can go onto the Charizard, can go onto the Pidgeot. We can even attach him to the Delphox or Arceus, and then attach the third energy from hand, and then there you go. Now we are attacking with every single Pokemon and getting the pivot guaranteed. It's really, really strong. Supporters, to research, to judge, we want to do a little bit of disruption, a couple of Ionos. It's really good for early game hands that really, they stink. You brick early game, and really good at late game disruption. We already talked about boss. Copy of Path of the Peak. If we can, throw it down, kind of disrupt our opponent, it's nice. It only works if we don't have to use an ability, if we're not relying on Quick Search, we're not relying on Starbirth or Infernal Rain. But if we've used our abilities for the turn and we go ahead and slap down a path, maybe we go ahead and use Quick Search, find the Path of the Peak, and put it down to keep our opponent from using theirs. Well, that's a good option. A couple of Artisans to help us find the Pidgeys and the Charmanders, maybe even the Manaphy and the Mew. And 10 basic fire energy, so we can pull them out of the deck either with Trinity Charge, Trinity Nova, which is very unlikely. More likely, we're going to go ahead and pull them out with Infernal Rain. So that is this Charizard EX deck. I actually really, really like this deck a lot, and I'm excited to give it a try. But moving on to deck list number 2. I have to talk about Tyranitar. It's honestly the one I probably want to play the most, and we have 3 copies of Tyranitar EX. We will evolve it from the Pupitar, from the Larvitar. What does the Tyranitar even do? Well, clearly it's Lightning type, which is cool, into Palkia, into Lugia. Mountain Bash for a single fighting energy does 120 damage. We have to discard the top 2 cards of our deck, sure, but we got 340 health. It's kind of 2 prizes. It's kind of worth, I think. Hitting for 120, just gonna get some chip damage. It's worth the top 2 cards. And then we have Thor's Rampage, 2 fighting energies, does 150. And if we have any bench Pokemon with damage counters, we do an extra 100 damage. So any of our Pokemon have damage counters on them, we're hitting for 250 for just 2 energies, which is really, really cool. And we can power up that energy. We can get those energies into play pretty easily. We just attach for turn. That's one. But the other is we have the Swampert, Stage 2 Swampert. Muddy Maker. Once started turn, you can attach a water energy or a fighting energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon. So we can use this ability to go ahead and power up our Pokemon even faster. And if we have multiple Swamperts in play, which we have a 2-2 line, so we couldn't get 2 Swamperts in play, that means each turn we can attach 3 energies from our hand. We have Beaverell, so we can go ahead and fill our hand up to maybe try to find those energies. Radiant Greninja, for if we have too many energies, we can go ahead and discard it and then draw a couple of cards. Nest Ball, Ultra Ball, we have a couple of battle VIP Pass, so we can find our Pokemon, get them into play pretty early. We got 4 copies of Rare Candy. Obviously, the Swampert needs the Rare Candy, as does the Tyranitar. Couple of switches, couple of damage pumps. We want to be able to move damage after the Tyranitar we hit with Mountain Bash. It's going to get attacked back, and then the next turn we can use damage pump to take some. Maybe we don't heal all the way, but we can go ahead and move some of the damage counters from it to another Pokemon, so that now we're hitting with Thor's Rampage and getting the full 250. This is also really cool, just like I said, to move the damage counters over before we use something like Cheryl. Cheryl lets us take one of our evolution Pokemon and heal all damage from it, and then we discard the energies that are attached to it. So we just have 1 energy on this Pokemon. We can go ahead, Cheryl, heal all the damage, but like I said, before we do, we use the damage pump to move the damage to a bench Pokemon so that we can still hit for max damage with Thor's Rampage. Then we go ahead and Cheryl, now we attach for turn, now we use Moneymaker to attach again for turn, and now we're hitting with Thor's Rampage, and it's pretty easy, honestly. We have something like Letter of Encouragement. You can only play this card if any of your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn. Search your deck for up to 3 basic energies, shuffle them, and put it into your hand. This is how we're going to find the energies for the Swampert to discard with Radiant Greninja to attach for turn. It's really cool. If we use this, obviously, after we Beaver, because we don't want to fill our hand up with energies before we go ahead and use Industrious Incisors. What other things do we have in here? We have a Power Pad to recycle the Cheryl. We have Cynthia's Ambition. Draw until you have 5 cards in your hand. If any of your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn, draw until you have 8. Couple of Boss's Orders. Couple of Irritors. Irritor lets you find a Water Pokemon and an item. So that means if we use Nest Ball, to go ahead and find the Mudkip. That means the following turn we can go ahead and play Irida, get the Swampert and the rare candy, evolve immediately. It's actually really nice. Raihan's great. You can attach an energy from your discard to one of your Pokemon in play, and if you do, you get to search your deck for any card you want and put it into your hand. You can only use this if one of your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn. As you can see, we have some that reoccurring if your one of your Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's last turn. Between Raihan, Letter of Encouragement, Cynthia's Ambition, we're probably going to give up a prize with like a Larvitar, maybe a Mudkip. Tyranitar eventually is going to get KO'd. It's okay, we have conditions to deal with that. Lake Acuity, we take a little less damage. We didn't talk about Iono, but Iono, shuffle your hand, put it to the bottom of your deck. Draw cards equal to the number of prizes you have remaining. Again, just really good early game to, if we have a bricky hand, we need to find something different. Later game, disrupt our opponent. Lake Acuity, if we have a water or fighting energy attached to our Pokemon, we take 20 less damage. Luminous Energy, if we have no other special energies attached, it provides one energy, but of every kind. So we can get that fighting energy onto the Tyranitar pretty easily. We can even attach it, honestly, to the Swampert hit for Earthquake, 180 damage. Sure, it does 20 damage to all of our bench Pokemon, but that's not a problem because Thor's Rampage wants our bench Pokemon to have damage counters on it. So there is a little bit of synergy there. 8 fighting energies, 1 water energy. Again, hitting with that Earthquake. We can use Muddy Maker. Again, Muddy Maker can go on to the Swampert. So if we attach for turn, use Muddy Maker, and then Raihan, now we're hitting for 180 damage pretty easily. We use double Swampert attached for turn. Now we're hitting for 180 pretty easily. We can hit for 250 really easily. Single prize Pokemon, 180, not bad. And I'll be honest, I don't like the Swampert's weak to lightning. I don't know why it is. It should technically be weak to grass, but that's a whole different story. And there you go, deck number 2, Tyranitar. Another deck that I am personally very interested to try, but let's take a look at the last of the video. The last deck does also use Arceus and Pidgeot. However, the Arceus isn't a support Pokemon in this one. It's our main attacker. Arceus V is pretty good. We attach a double Turbo Energy and Trinity Charge. Let's search a deck for 3 basic energy and attach them to our Pokemon V in any way we want. It does have to be Pokemon V, but now we can attach to itself. We can attach to the Zapdos, to the Garchomp. We can even attach to the Lumineon, and we'll talk about why that might be useful later. So we have now Arceus V Star, Trinity Nova, hitting 200, 180 with double turbo energy, but that's fine. 180 is still pretty decent, and we get the same effect, search a deck for 3 basic energies, attach it to our Pokemon V in any way we want. Starburst, we already talked about, search a deck for any 2 cards you want, put them into your hand. And now we also have the Pidgeot EX. Now we're still running a 3-1-2 line instead of a 2-2. We're running a 3-1-2. Want to be able to evolve that Pidgey into the Pidgeot. We do have a couple of rare candies. Maybe we can't utilize our Starburst for a rare candy, so we have the Pidgeotto as the backup evolution. Radiant Greninja, discard energy, draw 2 cards. Nest Ball, Ultra Ball. Now we have Feather Ball. Feather Ball is going to be in the way we search out Pidgeot EX because it does have free retreat, and this lets us search a deck for a Pokemon that has no retreat cost, which is really, really cool. The Pidgeotto does have retreat. Literally the only thing, I guess the Garchomp doesn't have retreat either. So you can search for Garchomp or for the Pidgeot EX. What do these Pokemon V even do? Why would we want to power them up? Galarian Zapdos V, Thunderous Kick for a fighting triple colorless, 170 damage before doing damage. Discard a special energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. I know that sounds like a lot of energies for an attack that does 170, but we have the ability Fighting Instinct. For each Pokemon V our opponent has in play, the attack cost is 1 colorless less. So in theory, if our opponent has 3 Pokemon V in play, we're attacking for just a single fighting energy. We can again power this up very, very easily with something like Trinity Charge or Trinity Nova. Then we have the Garchomp V, 200 health as well. Dragon Claw, the Water Fighting Colorless, 120, nothing special. We really want to use Sonic Strike for Water Double Fighting Colorless. Discard 3 energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 220 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So we can go ahead and instantly knock out one of our opponent's bench support Pokemon. We can go ahead and knock out a Lumineon, a Squawkabilly. We can do big damage to a Pokemon V. Something like that. Something that maybe took damage before, retreated. Now we go ahead and follow it and KO it while it's on the bench. Lumineon V. Luminous Sign, where we play it from our hand to the bench. Search a deck for a supporter, put it into your hand. Very, very strong. Aqua Return for a water double colorless. It does 120 damage, and then you shuffle this card and all cards attached to it into your deck. And this is really nice for two reasons. One, you're going to get a 2-prize liability off your bench. Two, it's pretty good chip damage, especially into single prize Pokemon, Cramorants, Comfey, Sableye, things like that. We go ahead, hit with Aqua Return, get this this liability off the field, especially if it has damage on it. If your opponent decides to soften it up with Moonlight Shuriken, with the Greninja, they try to start to put some damage counters on it with Sableye. They attack into us with a Cramorant themselves. Now we shuffle this into the deck, so we deny the prizes, we clear the damage, and we can go ahead and search this Pokemon out to reuse Luminous Sign, which is really, really cool. It also gets energies back into the deck, so we can go ahead and search them out with Trinity Charge or Trinity Nova later. Nest Ball, Ultra Ball, we talked about all that. Escape Rope, Power Pad, Lost Vacuum to get rid of Path to the Peak. Our deck does have a few abilities between Radiant Greninja, Pidgeot, Lumineon, Zapdos, and Arceus. We have quite a few abilities, so if we don't want Path to the Peak in play, we go ahead and Lost Vacuum it. The rare candies for the Pidgeot, Super Rod to recover some Pokemon and energies, Choice Belt to hit just a little bit harder onto Pokemon V, Poppy, move up to 2 energies from one of your Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon is really cool if we want to power up a Garchomp V out of nowhere. We want to power up a Zapdos out of nowhere. We can go ahead and move energies from like an Arceus to something else. We can also hit with the Pidgeot if we wanted to. It's another cool way to use Radiant Greninja. Our opponent might not think that we can go ahead and use the Radiant Greninja, but we go ahead and attach a water energy for turn, and then when you play Poppy, take 2 energies off of an Arceus or for Garchomp or whatever we accelerated energies to with Poppy, move it to the Greninja, and now we're sniping 90 damage to 2 of our opponent's Pokemon. So we can hit with things out of nowhere that they don't even see coming, which is really, really cool. And with the Power Pad, we can do it again. We have a copy of Peony, discard your hand, search your deck for 2 trainers, put them into your hand. If we have one card in our hand and we don't really need it, or we have a couple of cards in hand that we don't really need, we can go ahead, discard them with Peony, search your deck for any 2 trainers. That could be the Rare Candy, the Feather Ball, the Rare Candy. I would not go Ultra Ball in that case because it doesn't really help. I would go like Rare Candy, Feather Ball, get the Pidgeot, and then we can go ahead and use the Pidgeot to get the Pokemon. This way we don't have to worry about discarding an Ultra Ball, but that's just something. We talked about Raihan and Boss's Orders already. Professor's Research, discard your hand, draw 7 cards. Talked about Iono. Sharon's Care, wonderful, wonderful card. Put one of your colorless Pokemon that has any damage counters on it and into your hand, along with all cards attached to it. So this is really good for cycling through Arceus V-Stars if our opponent starts to try to damage our Pidgeots. We can go ahead and pick those up, put them into the hand again, deny those prize cards, recycle energies, tool cards, things like that, and then we go. So really how this works is we have an Arceus V-Star in the active, we have an Arceus V on the bench that we powered up with Trinity Nova last turn. Now, our opponent hits into that active Arceus V, they don't KO it, we play Sharon's Care, pick it up, promote the Arceus V, evolve into the Arceus V-Star, re-bench the Arceus V that we just picked up, attach an energy, power it up, there we go, and now we just do that cycle. We can go ahead and use, like I said, the Power Pad to do it again the following turn and really, really deny our opponent any prizes, make it super, super hard for them. They're wasting their turns attacking, not getting any prizes. We're continuously setting up our board, powering up our Pokemon, and taking damage or putting damage out, taking prizes. It's a really cool strategy. A couple of Lost Cities to get rid of key Pokemon on our opponent's side of the field. And then we have 4 double turbo energy, 4 water energy, and 5 basic fighting energy. So there you go. That is the deck list that I wanted to show. I happen to like all 3 of them. So there you have it. I want to know from you, which deck list are you the most interested in? Is there something else that you saw that you think would be pretty cool? I want to hear about it, but that's going to do it for us today. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, found it informative. If you did, like, subscribe, comment, all that kind of stuff. Tells YouTube to say good channel. Other people should watch it. Yeah, that's good. Tell me, like I said, leave a comment. Tell me what kind of deck list you're looking forward to. And that's going to do it for us today. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time. I want to give a special shout out to the YouTube members, Black Wins, Mike the Highest, Fernando Ortiz, Chin Pokemon, and Eric N. Thank you all so much for your support. It really means a lot to me. And if you want to become a channel member, you can go ahead and click the channel member button somewhere at the bottom of the page. I'm not really sure. I haven't done it myself.